what I really want to hit home in this podcast is quit looking for people who are not living the life that you want for information. Take evaluation of the people around you because you are the sum of the 5 closest people around you. And so are they living the life that you want? Do they embody it?
Welcome to Elevated Life, Real Wellness and Transformation Podcast, where we walk alongside the internally driven individual as they transform their life through wellness, movement, mindset, and personal responsibility. If that's you, you're in the right place. Let's jump in.
We talk a lot about going within and having that be really all the steps to leveling up or finding a higher frequency. But there's more to it than that. It's important, but it's not everything. So today we wanted to talk about the other side of that same process of leveling up, but what outside influences can contribute, what you need to be aware of, but what the benefits are as well, I would say. Right? Is that a fair assessment of what we're thinking? That is a
fair assessment. And what we're talking about today specifically is the people around you, the voices around you, and how there is value in asking for other people's opinions, but how to have discernment in doing that.
This one, it's tricky. It's tricky for us, even when we're just talking about it with the two of us, because it feels like a tightrope. Sometimes.
Yeah, there's definitely a line.
And it's not always an easy line to see, or to stay on, I guess, hence the tightrope.
Yeah.
But we're going to give it a shot and talk about it and kind of see where this goes.
Yeah. So basically, the thought came into my head of, we're really big on no gurus, look within, like Clint was saying earlier. But then also being able to use wisdom and discernment with who you're listening to. So in regards to, and I'm having a hard time articulating this, obviously, but basically, if someone is not living the life that you desire to live, don't listen to them.
And I think it's important to make the distinction. We're not necessarily talking about like their actual, day-to-day life, meaning you could really find a lot of value in someone who, like, let's say, has a hobby farm. But what you're called to do is live by the beach.
Right.
And not have a hobby farm. And so it doesn't mean like, if I want to live in a tropical paradise by the beach and, maybe have a little garden or whatever, that I'm not going to find value in somebody that's a cattle rancher in Wyoming.
Right.
We're not necessarily talking about like the actual
thing.
This is my job,
yeah.
So I have to find, or I want this job, so I need to find other people that have the same job or anything. We're talking more spiritual,
energetically.
I
would say
it's
energetics. And this is also, we're conditioned to listen to your elders and all of those things, which is great if energetically that aligns with you. But, a lot of times with older populations, just because you're older doesn't mean you're wiser. It doesn't mean that you've done any kind of inner work. It doesn't mean that you have any kind of real insight. It could mean that you're dealing with someone who's advanced age who still acts like an 8-year-old, but just because they have numbers behind them, they, think that they're smarter and wiser and better.
I think that numbers idea too goes to money. Just because somebody has a lot of money or they seemingly on the outside have been successful, in whatever society deems as success, it's the same thing. That doesn't mean they've got all this great insight or anything. They might. They absolutely shouldn't be discounted, but it also isn't. It's talked a lot about credentialism. So somebody's got
85
the
credentials,
degree or the bank account or 2 million followers on Instagram, so they must know what they're talking about.
Totally.
None of that stuff. Again, it doesn't automatically discount people.
Sure.
But it doesn't automatically make them an authority figure either.
And I would say that this is also true with people who are younger. How many people are discounted because they're children or because they're in their 20s or in their teens, right? This is more of, like we've talked about a lot recently, seeing people as a soul instead of what they are in their meat suit.
Yeah.
And so, if you are taking evaluating your life and you're evaluating your circle, are people embodying? And when I say embodying, I mean walking out what they know, what they're talking about. Those are the people that you can find value in asking questions, right? Seeking more understanding. If they are just spouting out information because they're all knowing in their own mind, because they have the credentials, because they have the number behind them, because they really know how to sit at the bar and talk about change, but actually not do anything. If those are not the people that you want to listen to. We talk so much about going inward and asking yourself, and that is 90% of really what I believe. But there is value in asking other people who have walked the path or are currently walking the path, but they're embodying it. That's the most important thing. So using that wisdom and discernment when you're asking other people's opinions, and then chew on the meat and spit out the bones. And at the end of the day, ask yourself if it's true for you. We talk a lot about the gurus out there that are saying, this is how you manifest. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. And so you do these mantras and do the things, and then it's not working for you, right? So there's value in learning those things, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is to ask yourself.
What I've found is one of the indicators, and this isn't an absolute, none of the stuff we're talking about ever really is absolutes, but one of the things that I've found is the people who are genuinely walking out that life, whatever that is, are going to be interested in what you're doing and not to fix you, not to even necessarily guide you, but just gather your information, because those people tend to be seekers of information and
curious
and recognize we can all share in each other's journeys and awakenings and information that you've been able to gather for yourself. And so those people will tend to really be curious about where you are, not giving you advice on what to do next necessarily, but just being able to have a conversation about what is going on with you. Where are you? What have you been doing? What's been working, what hasn't? Just genuinely being open and curious.
Well, they're most likely going to ask questions, right? It's not, or use things like, well, in my experience, this is what has happened, but that probably won't be the same for you. So at the end of the day, trust yourself. But that's how the conversation is going to go.
Hey, quick pause. If this episode is hitting you and you're ready for real tools, here's what we built.
Head on over to cjellevatedlife.com, pick up the Rebuilt Method for Men or the Rebuilt Method for Women, just $67 each. We also created the Parasite Detox Blueprint at $37. And this is actually the exact protocol we use ourselves.
And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get the weekly action steps and new tools we've tested ourselves. Let's get back to the episode.
What I really want to hit home in this podcast is quit looking for people who are not living the life that you want for information. Take evaluation of the people around you, right? Because you are the sum of the 5 closest people around you. And so are they living the life that you want? Do they embody it? Do they talk about how they're changing and wanting to do better? Or are they talking about other people, and just living in the complete cesspool of life? Those are not people that you want to speak into your life. They're not even people that you want to share your hopes and dreams with, because most likely they're going to insert their limiting beliefs onto you that is going to have you start questioning what you're doing. And what you're doing is obviously completely opposite of what they're doing. And sometimes this is really lonely. When you go through this, it can be a very lonely experience. So when you find those little nuggets of people, hold on to them. And you don't have to be super callous, in your evaluation of who you're surrounding yourself with. The universe has a great way of just sloughing these people off. You don't always have to do the whole, I'm not hanging out with you anymore. Right. You don't have any value. You're not living the life that I want. That's your ego talking to you, right? That's the I'm pious, just prideful ego speaking to you. It naturally fades away. You can naturally see through, basically through them, and that they're just dealing with their traumas or speaking out of their experience. You don't have to be just so, no, you're done. You're cut off. I mean, in some situations you do.
I would even take that a step further and say it can potentially be a detriment to you if you, depending on how you cut people off. If you find yourself in a position where you've done some introspection and you're just like, all right, this person, I can't live in their energy anymore. Yeah. I need to cut them off. One potential instinct almost is to tell them, to be, like you're saying, like, I need to cut you out of my life. You're a negative influence on me, whatever you want to say. That's just such a fake dopamine hit.
Oh, and an ego boost.
Yeah. It's the same as, I've read my 14th self-help book, haven't implemented any of it, but man, do I know how to read those.
Right.
I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. I'm going to start eating healthy tomorrow. And now I got that little, I'm going to do it.
Right.
The same thing is like, I proved a point that I'm elevating because I told them, because they're not, and I told them about it.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay, that's not walking it out on your own. So it's okay to, if the circumstances dictate, it's okay to cut people off very, bluntly, but it doesn't need to be a show.
No.
It can just be, I've moved on.
I would
not even
say,
telling them, internally telling yourself, I'm removing myself from this situation, and that's all that needs to be done.
Yeah, and kindness can be infused here. People, like, there are people who have sloughed out of my life. Does that mean that I am not waving to them in town? Does that mean that I'm being an asshole or posting some passive aggressive bullshit on
Right.
Facebook that, no, that is all ego, all lower level cesspool garbage. It happens naturally. It's just a natural progression. It's really interesting because last week I posted on my own Instagram this clearing of the field, and I used Granger's like homeschool battle axe. And during that, because the lady that I, mimicked her video, it was the most inspirational video to me ever, right? I watched it probably 20 times
At least.
before I was like, I'm going to do this. And I went outside and I did it and I recorded myself doing it. But during that, I literally was clearing the field of the people that we're talking about, right? Like the people that suck your energy, that whatever. And it was really interesting because the next day, one of those people, came out of my life because of that video. And they didn't like it. And so they decided, John is being way too authentic. And that makes me really nervous. And instead of being like, oh my gosh, my feelings are hurt, I was like, what an answer to the ritual that I just participated in. So, maybe you need to clear your energy on your own, however that looks. You can go look at my personal Instagram and see how I did it with Granger's homemade zombie bat. But I literally put the energy while I was doing it into clearing that field. And I knew when I did that some shit was going to go down. And it did. And I'm grateful because losing people, and I'm putting that in quotations, you want those people out of your life because they're energetic blocks to the next level that you are in, you want to go to. And giving them any kind of power to speak into your life is just holding you back. It really is. And so, ultimately, make sure that when you are starting this journey, I hate that word, but it's just a thing, that you are not letting people speak into your life that aren't embodying the life that you desire.
And the a different way to put that, I guess, or the flip side of that is inviting people into your life that are walking out what you desire.
Sure.
Really paying attention to that and not, because it's easy to think, and we kind of get caught up in this, as I think back on things that we're saying, even it's can be easy to think, I just got to cut everybody out.
Yeah.
It's within myself. We talk about how it can be lonely, how it can be isolating, all those things. So, if you're going into it thinking, well, this is something I have to do on my own. It is, but there are people that can come into your life and you don't necessarily know when or how but it's important to still keep your eyes open. Like Jonna says all the time, have eyes to see and ears to hear for those people too.
Absolutely.
Because I hate to say they will, because I don't, absolutes are goofy, but they potentially could be in your life or come into your life, but you recognize that and it isn't just, I 100% have to be alone in this. You may be,
Yeah.
but you may not be.
Right.
And at different points, there could potentially be different people. So just be open to that when they are living the life you're looking for again in the frequency, in the energy?
You attract energetically what you are. So if you are surrounded with people that are, whatever, we've said it a million times, don't take care of themselves physically, mentally, spiritually, that's because you aren't doing that for yourself. When you start to raise your frequency, then you are not going to have to chase after people. They will naturally be attracted to you. And also, parasites are going to be attracted to you, human parasites. So really, it's about being present in your body and being aware of who is around you, and being an observer of these people. And you can pick and choose. These people add value. These people want to lower my frequency. Your body, once you really start to live in your body, is going to tell you, right? When you're around people that are just, it is so uncomfortable for me now to be, it is, I'm just, energetically, it's like, when two magnets come together and then they repel each other. It's like that. I can't even do it. It's not even a place that I want to be.
I'm so happy you brought that up, because I was actually going to bring that up as you were talking about it. It's something you mentioned in a different podcast and talk about a lot, but when you're not even necessarily first starting out, but it could be first starting out on this, whatever this is, and you're around maybe like your normal social group who you've been around before, and you leave the conversation and you just kind of have a gross feeling or some other kind of feeling. It can be natural to fight that and think, well, am I just being judgmental of them?
Right.
Am I more the problem? But listen to that and really, really evaluate that and think, is it because they're at a different frequency? Their energy is not what I want anymore. And now I can see it. Maybe
Right.
I used to not be able to see it. Now I can see it a little bit. That's not judgment of other people. Because what we are not advocating for is going in and trying to change them.
No, because that's impossible to change other people.
So when you have those feelings, when you can shift your mindset to, am I judging other people for gossiping or, doing whatever that made me feel gross, and say, okay, no, I'm looking inward and thinking, I just can't be a part of that anymore.
Right.
Then that's when you can start to make those changes. Then you see, and like you said, it expands exponentially. As soon as you start thinking that and feeling that, then it's like, oh, I see it all the time and instantly see it. When you start getting in tune with that, like, as soon as you see somebody almost, like, oh, this energy isn't good.
Totally.
I need to be aware of this. And it doesn't mean I need to be an asshole to that person.
No, not at all.
But it means I need to be cognizant.
Yeah, everyone is on
here.
their own journey, right? And everyone's awakening happens at different times. It is not for you to try to change them. It's not for you to try to judge them. It is literally on them.
So then the other side of it, sorry to interrupt, but just the other side of that exact same thing is, as you're doing this, you'll also potentially see, oh, I'm instantly attracted to that person.
For sure.
For whatever reason. Like, their energy is amazing. I feel compelled to talk to them and to, just have some sort of a connection with them. Run with that too.
Totally. And it's funny because, Eve recently moved out and she moved to the West Side. Super proud of her. She's just doing so amazing. But she was like, Mom, how do you make friends as an adult? And I was like, how you did as a child. Like, if there's an energetic connection, you guys, it is not weird in the world that I live in, and you all know what that world is. If someone came up to me and said, I don't know why, but I just would really like to get to know you, that would not be weird for me. Like, that's not weird. I feel like that may be weird, maybe in a different world, but in my world, like, that is a normal, healthy way to have a relationship with another adult.
Well,
can we normalize that?
Speaking from my experience with that, it was super weird at first for me.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to talk about it all the time when we would just be places, whatever, out at the beach or out to dinner or whatever. And people would just come up and start talking to us. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Because I did not have that. I repelled that. I kept that at a distance if it ever happened to me, in my previous life, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
But then seeing it was like, oh no, I need to bring that in.
Totally.
Because it's pretty incredible.
It is incredible. And it's funny that you bring that up because, I remember it being just like a trip for you that like people would just come up. And that is something that, especially in the last 5 years, I've experienced a lot of. Mm-hmm. And I embrace all of that. Like, let's normalize just being like, oh my goodness, I am drawn to you. Can we sit and have a conversation? Like, who are you? And I like your shoes. Mm-hmm. Do you want to be friends? I mean, seriously, it's so hard for adults to make friends, but it's because we are not being authentic. Mm-hmm. We're socially conditioned to not reach out and do those things. It's like somehow taboo and weird. And I don't believe that. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that at all. I say lean into that, because just like everything else, it's going to be a snowball effect. And I wouldn't say chase after people, because as you energetically are just navigating at a different frequency, those opportunities and those people are going to come into your life. Mm-hmm. They are, just like we were talking about before. It's just you have to grab onto that. It's that analogy that you use. Can you say the analogy about the God save me?
Yeah. So the guy there's a flood coming, and the guy is praying to God, I please save me. I need help. And the first person shows up, there's various versions of it, but the first person shows up in like a pickup. Like, hey, jump in, let's go. We need to get out of here. Like, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. Mm-hmm. And then the floodwaters rise, and then somebody comes along with a boat. Like, hey, dude, jump in, let's go. Like, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And then the helicopter comes, and he's like, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And pretty soon the guy drowns. Yeah. So then he goes up to heaven or whatever, and is talking to God. And like, why didn't you save me? He's like, I sent all of these people, and you turned them away because you were looking for something else, whatever you were looking for.
That's called having eyes to see and ears to hear, mm-hmm. and being able to be just expanding your consciousness beyond the little box that you've put yourself in, mm-hmm. potentially.
Hey friends, if you're getting something out of this, connect with us on our social media platforms. We're at CJ Elevated Life _ on Instagram and TikTok, and CJ Elevated Life on Facebook and X. We're answering DMs, sharing daily content, and building community with people ready for real transformation. For now, hit subscribe wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We drop 2 new episodes every week. And if this episode resonates, share it. That's how we reach more people who are ready for change. You can also find everything at cjelevatedlife.com. All right, let's keep going.
I think something else, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to articulate this, but we'll give it a shot. As you were talking earlier, it made me think about the podcast we did on projection. Mm-hmm. And so much of our inability to see that in other people because of what triggered it was the authenticity. And if you are living an inauthentic life, and that might just be materially or emotionally or whatever, you really haven't connected with yourself, then it's almost like an automatic presumption that everyone else is the same.
Yeah.
So this is how I feel about myself. So I'm going to project that onto everyone else and assume that they're all inauthentic and fake and have ulterior motives and, whatever those things are.
Yeah.
And some people do, obviously. But as soon as you can work through that on your own, like we've said, it's fascinating how much easier, it's a weird word, but how much easier it is to see it in other people. Like, no, this person is genuine.
Yeah.
Or this person is coming at me and like they're not. There's something else going
there's
on.
Motives.
Now I can keep them at arm's length.
That's how you become an energy reader of people, honestly. It's just, and it's super fascinating because as I've developed this muscle, I can read the second I'm presented with a human. It's like I just get an entire download. And I'm super grateful for that. But that means being present and honest with yourself. I mean, you guys know, a thin slice of what we have gone through in the last year. Spiritual awakening number 799 for me. But just coming back to myself, right? And so now, just like we talked about in our superpower podcast, now I'm getting my superpowers, right? Stepping into that. We all have superpowers. Again, I'm not special. It just requires doing the work to receive your superpowers. So let's circle back around to this podcast, which is be mindful of who you're allowing to speak into your life, who you're surrounding yourself with, because this is an energetic match for how you view yourself and how you view the world. And if you want to change, it's going to require not allowing those people to be in your space energetically and speak into your life. And quit looking for advice from people who are not living, walking out, not their fake profile on social media, not, the fakery, the masks, that are actually embodying it.
Or I would say, because it's easy to get caught up in the words. Some people, they've got all the buzzwords and they know how to communicate it, and it can be enticing. Because they know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Except they're not living what they're saying.
Totally.
They just memorized a bunch of shit and can regurgitate it.
Yep.
Which is not what we're talking about. And I would also say, again, being open to finding those people that are walking things out in a way that you want to, in places that you wouldn't expect to find people that maybe you would connect with.
Right.
Different, just ways of life.
Yeah. It can happen anywhere. I mean, honestly, absolutely anywhere. And really the biggest tell for me is how people treat other people and how they speak about other people. That is my biggest tell. Is this someone that I, am considering spending any time with? How do they treat and talk about other people? Because if they talk about other people in any kind of negative manner in front of me, I know for a fact, number one, that that's how they think about themselves. And number two, when I am out of that room, they're going to make damn sure that they're going to talk that way about me. And I don't care if it's, oh, look at that person with all the tattoos. Oh, look at that person, who's wearing those pants, so for sure they're a libtard. Or look at that person who has Make America Great Again hat. They're fucking dumb. Like, when I leave their presence, they are for sure going to say something about me like that, because ultimately that's how they think about themselves.
Right.
Right. And so that's my biggest tell. If they're not speaking in a positive way and not fake positivity, you know, well, let me just pause. If they're not speaking about people in a positive way and in a way that brings hope, then I don't want to be around them, or I'm not looking to find any kind of answers or advice or insight from them. That's just not what I'm doing. I'm not going to allow them to speak into my life because I don't want them to word curse me. They're busy word cursing everyone else and ultimately themselves.
But then if you do find those people that are speaking with hope and, you know, all those things, basically the opposite of what you just said, embrace them.
Yeah. Yeah. And just be honest, right? Like, I want to be your friend. I want to spend more time with you. This is how we do this as adults, people. Like, literally. And I know it can be awkward, right? But that's what you got to do.
And you know what's fascinating is when you actually find those people, it's not awkward for them.
I agree. That's
And
what we were
so-
saying before.
Yeah, so then it becomes not awkward
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, because they're authentic. They don't have masks, right? There's no reason to mask anything. And potentially they're used to it. You know, I mean, that's just, and you should get used to it too, because these are the things that are going to happen to you as you level up. It just is. So be open to that. That's basically it, guys. Don't let other people speak into your lives that aren't living the life that you want to live. And then be open to these weird interactions that are going to make you feel uncomfortable, like Clint talked about. People coming up to us and being like, oh my gosh, I just wanted to come over and say hello.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And we're like, okay, hello, how are you? Right?
Yeah.
And poor Clint, like, talk about deer in the fucking headlights.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
No shit. That it was, and it's not anymore, you know, now
Yeah.
it's, but yeah, that definitely took some getting used to. But looking back now, because it didn't, like, other than Jonna, I didn't really have a lot of this kind of information.
Right.
You know, I was kind of coming at things blind, like, I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but let's go for it. And so looking back on it, you know, it's like, well, those were pretty amazing situations. But having, you know, little pat on our own backs, if I had been listening to this podcast for a year, it would be different.
Yeah.
I would understand what was going on a little bit more.
Right. All right.
But Jonna helped me through it.
I hope that was helpful for you guys. You know, seek out people, but don't chase, just attract, right? Raise your frequency so you can attract human 2.0 into your life instead of animal human that has not grown and developed yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Thanks for listening. I hope it was helpful.
We'll talk to you soon.